So I'm just going to say welcome and hello. I think we're expecting a couple more people to join in and we'll let them as they arrive, but we wanted to get cracking with our first How To Festival Lunch and Learn. I think it's a small but perfectly formed group for the first one, as a way to just partly recap and showcase what the How To Festival is, hear from people who've been contributing and being part of it behind the scenes, and also hear from some people who perhaps either might want to use it or have been using these sorts of resources. And we can hear the goal at some of these events as well is to start to hear from people what they're making of it, because it's quite different to how Flourish have been running before. So in a nutshell, just very quickly, the How To Festival came about out of a few things. In the middle of the pandemic, when we were finally allowed out that summer, a couple of years ago, we ran a physical event called the How To Festival. And there were about 18 workshops, physical workshops that we ran out of a venue in Manchester. And there was a health and wellbeing zone, because we know lots of people need to look after their self-care and health and wellbeing as part of what they do. It goes on a back burner. And we've actually got lots of people in our network who are brilliant health and wellbeing practitioners. So why wouldn't we showcase them whilst give people access to some great health and wellbeing content, tips and learning. There's a creative and digital zone, and again, creative and digital is quite a learning curve in terms of a skill set for people running social ventures, and even if they've used a bit of this stuff before, branding, marketing, social media, which is going to be a topic for today with Vicky joining us. There's all sorts of people teaching people stuff, tips, shortcuts, and just talking around creative and digital things in the creative and digital zone. And then there was the social enterprise support zone. And so that really starts to scoop up and offer lots of social enterprise support on finances, budgeting, commissioning, what it's like running a social venture. How do you start? What does it mean? Also, funding and fundraising. There's all sorts of stuff that we ran at the real world event that we knew we'd probably want to take online. And that's basically what's happened. We've expanded the number of workshops. I said almost everybody, in fact, everybody who was at the physical event has done a virtual version for us. There's a mini webinar, and these are sort of 20 to 40 minutes long. And we've then expanded that. So Anna will correct me if I'm wrong, but we're working towards in the region of about 30 webinars being on the site, within the next month. There's a good 20 or so already there. And there's also a podcast library, as we've got sort of in the slide here, different resources and other options. And one day in the future, we'd hope to have it sooner, but I'm not sure if we'll get there. There's no reason why we couldn't include a kind of bi-social sort of shopping area. And we've got links to lots of people already who could have content there. We just want to launch that when the time's right. So yeah, in a nutshell, we've created this online festival that's been sort of softly launching and piloting for a few months. And now we're sort of reaching out to people over the autumn and winter to help more people access it, either benefiting from sessions, which, as we've said, go from anything from, mindfulness and meditation through to how to set up your own online shop, through to why bother with Twitter, and how to achieve bid writing success. There's a real mixture of everything in there, and we're just keen that people can access this stuff affordably. So to the wider world, there's a £25 ticket fee, which is mainly there to cover our costs while we pilot this. We have had some backing from a few sources, so Manchester City Council, the WEA, and NatWest. Elements of contracts and funding that we've had from them, we've invested in this, so that people like Anna, who you're going to hear from in a minute, Vicky, who you're also going to hear from, Michaela, who's been helping behind the scenes, and some others, can physically build this thing. But we will need people to buy their tickets and be part of it. We have given like a free passcodes to people who've been on our recent courses. So any of our courses funded by the WEA, for example, our Time to Grow programs, our Ellie programs, people have been given free access to this because we want to learn more about what they're making of it and get people using it. So that's in a nutshell where we've got to with it, and we'll come and sort of take thoughts and questions. But yeah, today's really a way to sort of hear a little bit more about what this is about. I know Anna's going to find out who's who and say a little bit more from her side. Vicky's going to say a bit how she's been involved, but also run a little mini masterclass if you're also top tips, because what some of the sessions she's got in the site are all about social media and branding and marketing. So we'll have a quick chat around that. And yeah, the plan is to do these monthly and bring in a different contributor or speaker each time, and just start to connect people. We're just starting to spread the word really about the fact that we're doing these once a month, and they complement our offline work. So what we're doing a lot of post-pandemic is physical stuff. So in Manchester and Stockport, and we have been doing bits and bobs around Wigan and Trafford and Tameside, we're running real world events. We've got our Flourishing Mondays in Manchester, Flourishing Fridays in Stockport. And we're just looking at how we expand some of that sort of place-based stuff, but we're well aware not everybody can get to stuff. People are busy. Some of us actually need to be using this Zoom thing still, because actually it makes our lives easier and more effective, and it means that people like Arjun here, who've seen on the call, can dial in from, you know, beyond the borders, so to speak. We're Flourish have never been a particularly border-driven organisation. Some of our funders have sort of made it that case, but you know, whether you're in, you know, Brighton, Bolton or Barbados, you know, you can definitely dial into these things if the time zones work, and make the most of it, connect with social entrepreneurs and learn from what's going on within the How To Festival. So I think that's all I'll say on that for now, and I'm sure anything I've forgotten Anna might pick up and add to as we go.
No, I think that's great, Nicola. Sorry, before I was just trying to let a Jade in. She was just emailing to say she was trying to join, so I've just sent her the link. But yeah, it'd be really nice to hear from Arjun and Jean just about your ventures and your projects, and also just where you are with your social media, because you do have Vicky here to sort of answer questions, and it'd be good to hear your experiences of different platforms. I know Vicky's going to have some top tips for the 4 major platforms, but it'd be good to know which ones work for you, or just how you're finding sort of doing social media. I know it's something that I find a bit difficult sometimes. So yeah, if either Jean or Arjun, you want to
introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Who's going to fight for their
who's going to fight for the
Jean got there first.
Yeah, I'm speaking. Right. Sorry if you get a little bit lost, because I can ramble on a little bit. But my project or my stuff is Look Inside Out. That's my business that I'm trying to develop. And within that, I've got a workshop called My Mask and Me, which I'm trying to put most of my concentration into. And this workshop, it looks at your personal development. It looks at who you are, where you get your messages from, your nurture, your nature. It looks at it's a lot. It's almost like you go in the car wash and then you come out the other side. You're not completely clean, but you've got bits and pieces of your personality to sort of fit in, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work on what I'm trying to work on is my delivery and how I present this to people so that they can understand in short term. So basically it's a workshop that it identifies who you are, what you are, and where you want to be. And yeah, and it
sounds like a perfect options for the How To Festival as well. So we'll have a chat with you about that shortly. I just wondered, Jean, I know you've come to us through a Time to Grow program.
Yeah.
Some of our virtual training and then some real world events. Have you had time to have a look at the How To Festival as yet? Have you had a chance to log in and use it yet?
No, I've not used it yet, but it is, you know, it feels something that's very organic. It feels like it, you know, the How To Festival, it feels like it's something that will inspire you. So I've not really delved into it too much. That's why I've come on today to find out a little bit more about it. I do know that people do sort of like showcase their projects and stuff on it, and they do virtual videos and things like that. So that's as much of what I know about it.
And we might come back in a second when we've heard from Arjun and just find out a bit more about you know, what might some of the challenges or barriers be for people getting in, is we're trying to work out how best to promote it, how best to keep people connected and engaged, and kind of not over nag people to give it a go. But I guess getting the odd email prompt, and we're about to launch a newsletter actually that will update people and nudge people maybe on like new content coming through and a reminder to get involved. But you're right, Jean, it is very organic. It's a pick and mix of all sorts, and just dip in. So Vicky here is just showing, I think, some of the health and well-being.
I was just thinking probably thinking the same as you, Nicola, that Jean could do a webinar on, you know, like how to identify certain aspects of your personality kind of thing.
Because it's my workshop's more of an introspective look on yourself. Sorry, because sometimes I've got dyslexia, so sometimes my mind just goes racing. So I'm trying to learn how to pull it back as well. But it's an introspective look on yourself, and basically work out where your messages are coming from, who you are, and who you want to be. And a lot of the time, who we want to be is not the thing that we've been taught to be by the system.
That's a great topic. You know, how do you work out who do you want to be? You know, so we might come back to you on something like that. And Vicky was just sort of showing a section there. I don't know if you want to flip up any on it, and then we'll come to Arjun to just learn a bit more about who's been involved.
The idea behind this really is that it showcases people who have any connections with Flourish, but also it kind of links back to their business as well, so it helps to amplify what they're doing and get the word out about their business. So basically we ask people to create a video of about 20 minutes on Zoom, and then we brand it. Michaela brands it, puts all the titles on and everything, so you don't have to do any editing or anything like that.
Michaela Parnell, not me. I've got Michaela Parnell's
designed like all the theme really for this. I've just put the bits together on the website. And then we pop your video on YouTube, but it's kind of like a private video, so you can't search for it. It's just people who have access to the site that have the links. And then the video is on here. This one's an 18-minute long video.
Hello, welcome to Reykjavik.
I won't play it all, obviously, but then it's all subtitled. You can view a transcript as well for people who may be partially sighted, or if you want to take some notes away. And then it links through to Anne Comfrey's page. And every contributor has got their own bio page where it tells you a little bit about the contributor and their business as well. And we've got the contact details here for people, and we link through, you know, to their website. So
it's a win-win-win in terms of promoting different kinds of change makers, social entrepreneurs, giving people access to all sorts of really good, useful content on topics that they're curious about, that they need to know about, or for all sorts of other stuff. So
what's the ratio? What's the ratio of people that you would have presenting the videos? Would it go through monthly, or as and when new content comes up?
Or as and when new content, isn't it? I think we've aimed to get the first 20 or so videos live. And if you want to show another zone there, while Danielle is coming in, and then we can hear a bit about Arjun and Daniela as and when they're ready. But this one, you know, how to shine an interview, how to exit your social venture gracefully. You know, there's all sorts of topics out there where people, you teaching people that you wouldn't get this information anywhere else. You know what I mean? There's some really good stuff, and a real mixture from the kind of practical learning through to top tips from people who perhaps been there and done certain things. So
that's good.
Real mixture. And do you want to show us another contributor page, Vicky?
I like that one.
Well, we've got
Kerry's
Kerry Bertram, or Kerry Tottingham. She's got married actually, so I need to change that.
We're going through. We've got to keep it.
And Kerry runs a brilliant thing, which is sort of like people-led training, isn't it, for businesses? And she's contributed quite a bit. She's also contributed a blog as well. So we're asking people to, if you've got an interesting blog or a podcast, we can put that on here as well and link through to your page so that people can read it, or to link through to your podcasting page.
It's been great for us because it's given us a way to both showcase the change makers in the network, and there are lots of women in there at the moment, as would be the case with Flourish, but we've also got a number of guys who are offering up sessions as well, so there will be sort of mixed people, mixed sessions. And Joanna there, somebody who was a mentor for us ages ago in marketing. She's got her own marketing and media company, so she's been involved in mentorathons years ago, so it's been a way for us to reconnect with people who've supported social entrepreneurs for a long time, as well as showcase people who are, you know, coming through and setting up their own ventures and needing additional exposure and practice space, ultimately, you know, to get the word out and give them that landing page where everything's all together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for showing a bit of that. For anyone that's just joined a little bit later, we've just given a little bit of background as to sort of the How To Festival, how it came about, and then we're just going round to find out a bit about sort of who's who. Jean's kindly said a little bit about herself, and we were going to come to you, Arjun, next, if we may, just to hear a bit about you, anything that you've linked with through Flourish, and then we will come back round everybody with the social media questions, perhaps as a secondary thing. But good to see you again, Arjun. Do you want to let people know what you're involved with?
So, hi, my name is Arjun, and I've recently set up a company, a limited company called Underground Music Group. It's actually, on the surface, it seems as though it's a record label, but it's most importantly a life sciences startup where we're trying to do social enterprise and community engagement endeavors, whether that's using sound researching it to assist with things like education, mental health, and there's also aspects which could go into, sorry about that, that's my phone. So it's a deaf association as well, so charitable deaf causes. And I was actually signed up to a webinar with Flourish by my work coach, and I actually found the webinar very useful. It was to do with setting up legal structures and organizations. But then since then, I've actually enrolled on the social media marketing sort of webinars, and I've also had a look at the Proper Good series that's on YouTube, which is excellent.
And we had a one-to-one, didn't we, a month or so ago? So good to see you back in things, and yeah, we can follow up again on all that. But yeah, we've got, as well as the stuff within the How To Festival, there's other things that we've got that will either try and feed into this, or that we can refer people to when we meet them at these monthly events like this, once we hear where people are at and what they need and that kind of thing. So have you had a chance to have a look at the How To Festival yet, Arjun?
No, so this will be my first time seeing it today.
Okay, good. And I guess, how have you found accessing online content? Because I know you've rifled your way through quite a bit of it. Is it helpful to have these online webinars? But what are the benefits, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's extremely helpful. Everyone can work at their own pace. I often use transcripts and often watch videos at 1.75 times the speed, which means I could get through a lot of content in a given day. But it allows me to learn so many things that can help with the business.
It's good to get that perspective. And Daniela, I don't know who you're on the spot. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you've been up to and what you're hoping to develop in the future, and whether or not accessing online stuff is helpful and complements other ways that you might be needing support?
Yeah, I'm finding accessing the information online really helpful, because for those who don't know me, but you can kind of tell I'm absolutely full of cold. I've been quite poorly, so it's good that I'm not missing out. I'm still able to keep up with the information while not infecting everybody else. I've been developing some new writing. I'm a spoken word artist, and I've been developing some new writing, and I've been basically connecting with different organisations and individuals who are looking for spoken word, and just tailor making my spoken word around whatever their issues are. And that was me.
Oh, good. I know you've been one of our Time to Grow programs, and hopefully the How To Festival is another way of sort of progressing, and people have perhaps come on some of our programs, or they might have come to an event, or they've linked into some of what we do somehow. what we try and do is create consistent ways that people can keep, you know, organically tapping into what they need. And this is just another way of that, alongside the physical events that I mentioned, having an online way of doing that. We think it sort of breaks a few boundaries, like people who can't get out of the house that day, or aren't in the best of health that week, or live further afield than Manchester. It's a good way, we hope, to not just get good content, but get a broader range of people involved in linking together as well. So we'll see. Fab. Anna, I sort of, obviously we started finding out who's who, and
Yeah, it'd be
out
good.
interest, but the social media question's a good one. Ready for
Yeah, so if I don't know if you want to start with your top tips, Vicky, and we can see how people relate to that and could ask you questions while you're doing that. Is that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just stop me if you've got a question about anything, or you could put it in the chat as well. And Anna, will you shout out if anyone puts things in the chat, because I'm on the screen share, so I can't. Okay. Oh, it's nice to see everybody here. Daniela, met you at the Real Life How To Festival, didn't I, last year, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to see you on board.
Nice to see you as well.
Okay, so basically what I was going to do is just run through some really quick top tips.
And Vicky's underselling herself there, because she's done 2 sessions for us. Do you want to just show us your
Yeah.
I don't apologise, it's easy to overlook, but if you want to scroll down, you're on the perfect zone there, and the creative and digital skill zone. Vicky kindly, in addition to helping us pull all this together, Vicky came on one of our programs the other year, sort of knowing that she wanted to sort of start her own thing, and has ended up within the year setting up Belting Wigan and running. She'll tell you all about that. But in addition to contributing some sessions, Vicky's also been our partner to create this site. So we've been able to invest in Vicky and her work to pull this site together, which ultimately is based on WordPress, isn't it? And you know,
it is,
uses your talents to help us pull it all together.
That's it. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself, but yeah, I set up Belting Marketing Wigan in the pandemic when I was furloughed from my job as a magazines editor. I worked in trade magazines, so obviously kind of the bottom went out of it. All the offices were closed, we couldn't sell any adverts, so we just the whole project was put on hold. So I was at home with my 2 little girls in lockdown, and I'd done a lot of volunteering in my local area, and one of the things that I helped quite a bit with was design in terms of posters and leaflets, and also the social media. And I'd been helping all the community groups in my area in Wigan to get online, and a lot of them were run by elderly people up here, so they didn't have a Facebook page for their community group or the local village hall or whatever. So I was saying, you know, if you want to really connect with people, the best way to do it at the moment is social media, especially for not just younger people. I mean, we've got grannies and grandmas now who are using Facebook religiously every day. So I had a bit of experience in helping social groups with their social media, and I'd done some website work and social media work through the magazine that I work for as well. So I decided to set up on my own. I thought I can help people who need a little bit of an extra hand, and I can do it cheap because I work from home. I haven't got the overheads of like a big marketing company. And I made it my sort of, even though I'm a sole trader, I made it sort of my ethos to help social enterprises and not-for-profits. So I offered a discount on my services for them, and free training or funded training. I put some money aside in a pot called the Belting Fund, and I could offer free training services then. So I've held lots of workshops on social media, Canva, you know, the design tool Canva. I've done some on recently on podcasting as well, for like one-to-one with people, showing my clients how to do that. And WordPress, and I'm now moving on to Wix a little bit as well, so I can help you with website creation. But yeah, so today I was just going to run through some sort of common questions really that people have, or just to really get down to the basics of the main platforms. And I advise people to get onto Facebook with the business, Instagram, which are interlinked because they were both owned by Meta Business, and also Twitter and Instagram, LinkedIn. Now, there are, as you know, lots of other platforms out there, and I'm not saying don't bother with any of the other ones, because if your business in particular is aiming, for example, at younger people, then you're probably going to be wanting to be on TikTok or Snapchat and that kind of thing. YouTube, it's always good to start up a YouTube channel just to stick your videos on there so that you can direct people there if you regularly make videos. And there's also some quite community-minded social and social media platforms as well, like Nextdoor, that I think a lot of people kind of miss out on. So Nextdoor is like Facebook for your neighborhood. So there tends to be a lot of older people on there as well, which is a great way to connect with the older people in the community, because they might not necessarily want all the fuss of everything that's on Facebook, but they want to stay connected with what's in the local area. But basically, my top tips for Facebook and Instagram are to, well, first of all, get the Meta Business Suite app on your phone or on your computer. If you log into a browser on Facebook, and I'll just show you my page here because I've got my page up, then you can get into Meta Business from here. This will help you. Hang on a minute, let me just get on my page. This will help you do things like schedule content for the future and link up also with your Instagram page. So if you click on your Meta Business Suite here, it takes you into a new window. And can you see how I've got the Facebook and Instagram logos up here? That means that anything that you post out on Facebook here, well, in Meta, you can choose whether it goes to Facebook or Instagram or both.
Save yourself a little bit of time, I guess.
Yes, that's exactly right. And a lot of people struggle with the time when it comes to social media, especially if you're a sole trader or you're running a small business. If you need to spend, say, 6 hours a week on social media, that's a large part of your week, and you might not have that kind of time. So if you can schedule out a couple of posts a week on 2 platforms within this, and it's free as well, you don't have to pay for this, then that's just going to save you a little bit of time. There is a little bit of an argument about making copy different, so that you shouldn't post the same content out on Facebook and Instagram. But if you've not got the time for it, then I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with posting the same content out on the different platforms. And I have got some, sorry.
Because I've already got a Facebook and Instagram, and I've just recently done a new Instagram for business. I've not done anything with the new one yet. I'm just waiting for it for business. Can you move all your stuff into this one, the better one? The Meta, what's it called? Meta.
Well, it integrates what you've already done, yeah. So if you
already there.
Yeah, it will already be there, and it will show you your previous posts up, so that you can look at recent posts.
Okay.
And you can see how many people you've reached, how many reactions you've had and whatnot. And that should do previous posts as well if you've only just linked the 2 together.
Yeah.
It should go. And this is where it comes in handy, because you can we were just talking about this before, actually, with me and Anna. You can start to keep track of how effective your social media is. And especially if you're using different platforms, which of your platforms is the most effective and which is the least effective, and work out how much time you should be spending on each, because if you're finding that you're spending an hour a week on Twitter, but you're not getting any interaction with it and you've not got any business leads or messages from it and new clients, then you can pretty much safely say that's not the platform for me and park it up. And I would just leave your page up, make sure your phone number and your contact details are on there, your email address.
Link to websites and things.
Yeah, links to websites, and just use that occasionally when you need to. I've even seen somebody on Twitter, which I thought was a good idea. She's posted on Twitter, I really haven't got time to maintain this Twitter account anymore.
Well, I've
But
done
if
that on
you-
LinkedIn.
Yeah, if you need me, please contact this number. And she's just pinned it to the top of her profile, so that if anybody's in the platform in the search for that business, they'll find it. But she's not donating any time to it. She's been putting her time into different parts of her business or different platforms that are working for her instead.
Just curious from people on the call to hear, you know, has anybody already picked up this Meta thing and is using it for their Facebook and Instagram, for example, yet? Wonder whether Arjun or anybody was, or how you might currently use social media, whether you're using these different sites for showcasing what you're doing or building a following around what you do. Anybody using their media in a particular way?
Not yet. I'm just trying to get all my content together to start doing it. So yeah, no.
Go on, Arjun, what were you going to say?
Sorry, I took to myself.
Actually,
I
sorry, oh God. Sorry for disturbing you. I did take a picture of, because I'm trying to design t-shirts as well. So I took a picture of the t-shirt that I designed and I put it as my profile page. So doing a bit of advertising like that, but it's not ready yet. The t-shirt's not fully formed, but small advertising, but nothing major.
Right, so you're right at the start of your social media journey then, really, aren't you? Which is good. So that's a really good point, because we've talked before, Jean, you mentioned it actually, about getting your points across succinctly. So one thing that I advise people to do when setting out and they're looking at the branding and everything is to write down some physical phrases that you can use again and again and again. So I'd advise people to write like a 6 or 7 word tagline for your business, which it just encapsulates what you do just in a few words, and then do one that's like a full sentence, say up to about 15 words, and then one that's a paragraph that explains what you do, which we can go into a bit more detail. And then like say a 3-part intro about your business then, with your aims on and everything. And if you just jot all that down on a sheet, Microsoft Word or a notebook sheet on your computer or your phone, then you've got that for every platform that you set up, and every time you fill in a form, or if you apply for any funding or anything like that, then people ask you about your business, don't they? And they say, can you write a description about what you do in that? So and put it on your website if you get a website. So it's a really good time to just clarify what you do and write it down physically, and include some keywords in there as well, which you know that people are going to be searching for, like mental health, well-being, career progression, or psychology, whatever it is that your field is. Get those keywords in there as well. So one tip that I would advise you for Facebook and Instagram is to get your images the right size. If you're using this 1080 by 1080 pixels, and you can set this up on Canva, I would recommend Canva. I'll just pop on for you so that you can have a look at it later. Has anyone used Canva here? Quick raise the hand if you have.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah. Canva is my go-to for all of my graphics, whether I'm doing social media, a video, a leaflet, printed graphics. It's really easy to use. There are lots of tutorials out there on YouTube, and you can get the basic version for free as well. So it's worth just downloading Canva, having a look at it, and
You
playing
could
around.
use months of your life in there, just so you know, people, because
Okay.
I mean, in a good way, but Anna's just put canva.com in the chat. That's all it is to find it. But it is a great tool. As she says, it's free, and it's either free or subsidized. If you're a social enterprise or charity and can demonstrate that, there is a free version. So even if you want to go beyond the basic, the main sort of business package for Canva is free for charities and social enterprises, which Vicky helped us figure out. It's it can create absolutely anything, and we have got some webinars on Canva, you know, how to use Canva and all of that. We've got a couple of sessions, one Vicky's done and one Yellow Jigsaw did for us, and there's, yeah, when I say you could use years of your life, it's just getting up to speed. Well, not even getting up to speed, because it's not hard to use. It's your creative juices start flowing, let's put it that way, and you know, people could be creating all sorts in there, and just rationing your time.
Also, you can share teams as well, can't you, on Canva? So like, I'm in the Flourish team, I'm also in a couple of my clients' teams. So like now, if I create a graphic for my client, I can create it into their account, and then they've got that forever. So even if I leave, or you know, get run over by a bus or something, God forbid, they've still got all the designs there, and they can then copy and paste them and change them, or add pages to them.
Look so much more professional than anything else, and anything that you could achieve on your own in PowerPoint or Publisher or whatever people use already to kind of make posters or graphics or images of things. And whether you have somebody create graphics specifically for something, or a brand or a logo or a campaign about something, you can also create some quite basic, quite clear looking templates that you can then download and then add to later, put your own text boxes over and things. So if you're needing to create more sort of graphical information or more eye-catching information that sells your wares, either as a document or as a little post or something to bring your post to life, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, or anywhere else, using tools like that can be really helpful.
They can, and it's also got a scheduling tool on the Canva Pro version as well, which means that you can schedule out not just to Facebook and Instagram, but you can schedule to Twitter and LinkedIn as well, and I think maybe other platforms. So it's definitely worth looking at. But yeah, if you can create your square images to this size, then no matter whether you're posting to Instagram or Facebook, they will be the sort of correct size. It's not long ago where Facebook had its own size, which was more of a landscape size. But since Meta bought them, bought each other out, they've sort of integrated it a lot more, and it's a lot easier to cross post now.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I created my label through Canva, but I want a little bit more with it, but I don't know how to change it up. Can I get a sort of a one-to-one or some kind of...
Jean, yeah, I've got a video, actually, a training video. So if you send me your email address, and this goes for anyone, just send your email address to mine, which is contacts@beltingwigan.com. No G. Then I'll add you to my video on YouTube, and you can view it, because it's a private video. So as long as I've got your email address, I'll add you to it.
Yeah.
And you can, it's like a 2-hour-long video, and you can just go through it and stop and start as you need to.
Yeah.
No probs.
Thank you.
And then what I would recommend doing is scheduling some posts then for the future, so that you're not having to go and do your social media every day. You can just go on, say, one day a week or one day a fortnight, and schedule up a few posts. Now, how many posts is up to you. So some people say try and post once a day. I think that's a lot. I think if you can schedule 1 or 2 posts a week, and then post up in between, like if you're in at events, do a quick live, or just do a quick pic with you pausing at your event and a bit of an update. Then you've got the basics then of a regular and well-maintained social media page. So the Instagram, make sure that you switch your account to Instagram Professional, because if you just have set it up as a normal personal account, you don't get the insights of the same into your figures, and I don't think it lets you link up to a Facebook page, like a business page. It needs to be an Instagram Professional account. Now, if you really want to get creative, because Instagram doesn't let you post clickable links to posts unless you've got like 1 million followers or something. You need to have a lot of followers to do that. But it will let you post up one link in your bio, in your Instagram bio. So what you can do is you can create, you could try a Linktree for this, although you might have to pay for that, but you can actually create a page on Canva, which is like a phone-shaped front page. And you can you can design it however you like, put your logo on it, and you could put your 4 social media platforms and your website address, or in your email address, phone number, whatever you like. And then this little design is then hosted by Canva, and it becomes like its own little web page, and then people just click on it from your Instagram bio, and they get up all your social media platforms and contact details on one page, and then they click through and get wherever to your website.
Nikki, so you're suggesting that in order to give people the opportunity to get more exposure across different areas when you can only have one link, is basically create a little umbrella site. So Linktree, I've never used it, but I've seen it. Linktree is a way to put a load of links on something, and by the sounds of it, you've just described, you don't have to just have it as a boring list. There's like a little image there that you can have, the buttons will click you through to your different sites. It's like a mini business card almost, or mini information thing that will give people access to all of them rather than just one, or rather your website or whatever.
That's it. And for, if you haven't set up a website yet, have a look at Google, because Google are offering free websites. So, I mean, I would always recommend that you sign up to Google Business anyway, when you set up a business, because that's free and it literally puts you on the Google map. So make sure you're registered with Google. You need a Gmail address to do that. So if you haven't got one, just create one. It's free. And Google offer you a free one-page website, so you can just put a couple of pictures up there, some text about what you do, and then link through to your social media. And Google, actually, Google My Business is, I'll just click to this slide. It's become like almost another social media platform as Google, so that when you go to Google and you type in
how people get in those maps, you know, and you're looking, because I use maps, Google Maps a lot, and there's all these business and all these things there. This must be how they do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you oh, I've got safe search on there something. When you Google a business and you've registered it with Google properly, it will show you, when you click on the map, it will show you exactly where I'm saying that now. He's not finding it, but it shows you where your business is being addressed to. Oh, can you see? Yeah, it's got that little flag there. Oh no, that's not me. That's my home. And it will also link you through. It's not showing all the gubbins at the side here. I don't know why.
What about the safety features if your business is from your home and you know you're out there and you're on the exposure and all that?
Yeah, there is that. You can put on your vague sort of address. You don't have to register an address with it, but it does. To put you on the Google map, it will verify it, which means that you get a card through the post.
Okay.
It's a link with a code on it, and then you have to go back online, enter the code to verify that that is your address. But a lot of people don't want their address on Google, and I get that, you know. But if you set up a company with Companies House, then I think your address has to be on there anyway, doesn't it? So it's kind of out in the domain. It just depends on
Yeah.
It's appropriate, yeah.
is. Yeah.
Extra little tip there. I just know time will get the better of us, Vicky. We're fine for now. It's about 10 to. But
Yeah.
Sort of just let
Right, I'll whiz through because the next slides are quite quick to go through. With Instagram, you can post, like I said, straight to Instagram and Facebook via Meta Business. You could use Canva to do that, or you could use something called Hootsuite, which is a scheduling tool. That now you will have to pay for using Hootsuite. It's not free, but you can schedule to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn via Hootsuite as well. And again, you can schedule in advance. Now for Reels and Stories, it's a little bit different. You can schedule stories at the moment in Meta. I'll just show you how you do that at the moment. So if you could create all a story is a mini video, like a 15 or 30-second video. But if you go to Meta Business, and you could create a story from here, and as long as it's the right size, which is of the phone size, then you can whack that on. I'll just do one that I did for Europia not long ago, and then you can see it. That's one. So I've just created this mini video in Canva, and you can see that he's got both Facebook and Instagram ticked up here. It will upload your little video and then ask you to either share it now or to schedule it. And if you click on active times, that gives you the most busiest times that people are most likely to see it. So it's probably like early morning or lunchtime or the afternoon, or sometimes it's the evening. But it will give you a suggestion as to when is the most active time on Facebook and Instagram. So then you can click that and schedule it. So on Facebook, you can do a swipe up link so that you can enter a web link that will take you to your website, whatever website you want it to go to. So when people are watching the story, if they slide up, it'll take them to that. On Instagram, you need 10,000 followers to do that. So some people can do that, but generally on Instagram, you need to have a big account to be able to do that. And one last tip for Instagram: if you want to create a reel, you're supposed to do it from your phone because it likes reels to be like instant, like you're just filming and it's not pre-prepared. But you can go to something called Insist.
Sorry.
Insist is INSSIST, and this is a web add-on for a computer, so that if you're creating stuff on your computer in Canva, rather than having to send it to your phone to upload from your phone, you can do it from here. It's like the mobile version of Instagram, and that's free to use as well, so that you can post reels then from here.
Sneaky
Tips. And
I've shied away from stories and reels, anything that's new on these things. So it takes me a little while to kind of figure out. But
well, do you know what?
Where we've got people on the call here who are working in arts, creative arts, music, poetry and whatnot, these sorts of tools are more, it's a priority in a way to use some of these things, because it's what your community would perhaps be expecting or be used to seeing from
Yeah. and the platforms love it. So if you're creating a variety of different content, if you're creating reels, stories, posts, and you've got a bank on Instagram of your stories, I think the platforms are more likely to see you as like kind of like a decent contributor and show your content. So it's good to have a variety, and I'm always telling people to get your faces on there as well. Even just a quick Facebook Live. If people connect with a face, they're much more likely to send you an email or text you or give you a ring, because they know who they're going to be speaking to. It's not a faceless machine or a robot. It builds trust. So if you can get your face on there, even just a lot of my posts have me just like pointing at an offer or just giving the thumbs up, and it's purely, it's not because I'm vain or anything like that. It's purely to let people see my face so that they know who they're going to deal with, and I think, and then people also recognize you at events, so when you're
That's
out and
spooky,
about,
yeah.
it's really spooky. You've never met these people. Sometimes you've never seen their face, but they'll go, "Oh, are you Vicky? You're all right. Oh, I'm following you on Twitter or whatever," and it's because they've made that connection already. It feels like they've already met you.
That's true. That's true.
So just a couple for Twitter and LinkedIn. If you don't use Twitter already, I would definitely recommend. It's one of my favorite platforms, and I'm not on there a lot, but I do like to dip in and out, and I also think it's really funny as well. I usually come out with having a bit of a laugh, if not getting a bit annoyed at some of the arguments, but it's useful for conversations and to keep conversations going, because it's so fast moving and the posts are so short. You've only got a limit of I think
It's amazing how well you can keep in contact with your network through Twitter, even when you've not seen each other for 3 to 6 months, because you're on there and you've shared each other's stuff, or you've mentioned something, or you've asked how something went, or whatever. You're up to date without having spoken for a long while. And there's lots of some people slate Twitter, but I've got to say it's our most effective site. And I never check Twitter analytics. I don't know if you're going to mention that sort of briefly, but I just checked the Twitter analytics yesterday for the first time in ages, and it was just really interesting to see what's gaining traction, what the most useful tweets are, and what's being reshared. And I was quite astonished at the hit rates and all of this stuff.
That's it. I mean, oh look, I'm all in green. That's really good. You can have a look at your Twitter analytics, like I was saying before, how you need to keep reviewing your social media to make sure you're not wasting time. But if your stats are like this, they're all green. Even if you're the small numbers and you've only got 10 new followers in a month, at least you know that it's growing and that people are engaging and it's working.
I think we did 25 tweets and we'd had something like 90 mentions or something.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging for me, because I hadn't really thought about it like that.
It goes to show that my top tweet about and my top mention are Flourish related. So my top tweet was the best performing tweet. It only earned 54 impressions, but it's still not bad for me. And it was about this event today, and the top mention that was 25 engagements was Flourish's the How To Festivals tweet that tagged me in. So yeah, it's worth, like I said, keep an eye on your stats, because you can then evaluate whether you need to change.
For a while, like you were saying, it might be that you just mothball your time and keep it to a minimum for sites that aren't working for you.
Definitely. Don't forget to tag in your supporters. So tag in your Flourishes and your Belting Marketings and anyone who you're working with, or who might be interested, or who might retweet a post for you. Tag them in. This is how you build.
You can tag them in 2 ways, can't you? Sorry to put in there, but sometimes you might mention them in the message because of space, or because they're at this thing, or the message is about them or something they're doing. Or if you've posted a picture. So on Twitter, we've learned over the years, having an image, as Vicky would tell you, gives you much more coverage and will get it shared more than no picture. And then having moving images, whether that's a GIF, a mini video, or whatever, is better still. But what I was going to say is, when you put a picture on there, that it lets you tag in about 10 different people, and that's another useful, you know, when you think, oh, I've got no word count left, you can actually tag people in onto a photo.
And then
They'll let you.
even further, say you've got 20 people to tag in, you could just put a second tweet, like a reply tweet to your tweet,
Yeah.
and just put them in the replies, and then they will read the tweet, the original tweet. Yeah. For videos, like Nicola said, videos are the best for getting engagement because people linger on your profile for longer. So if they're watching a video for 30 seconds or a minute, that's much better than them just scrolling past a quick flat image. But they need to be a certain size on Twitter. So there needs to be a minimum of 1200 pixels wide, but there is a maximum as well. So if you Google it, you'll get the right size. But I would recommend 1200 by 1200 pics. And they have to be a maximum of, that should be 20, I think 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Any longer than that, and Twitter won't let you upload it, or it'll make you cut it, it'll make you trim it, so you might miss your ending off. So probably, to be on the safe side, just do 2 minutes and try and pack it all into that.
Shorter still, I mean, you know, most, when I've seen things on that, a lot of it's sort of 10 seconds, 20 seconds, because it's such a fast paced one, that one.
Yeah, you could, they can just be a few seconds, yeah, easily. Or on Canva, you create them kind of like slides on a PowerPoint, and it creates that into a video. So just one slide or two would be fine. Always try and remember a call to action if you can as well on all of your posts, no matter what you're doing, really. Always have a link for people to go to, or an email address for people to email, or just something for them to do, even if it's send a message, because if you forget that, then they forget how to get in touch with you, or which way you prefer to get in, people to get in touch in. So for LinkedIn, you need to start a personal page on LinkedIn like you would with Facebook first, and then you can create a work page or a business page. Try and add a personal statement to your personal page with, like we were talking about before, about getting your message across really quickly and succinctly. So if you got your little tagline, like mine was telling stories about brilliant businesses. So it gives people an idea of what you do. Some people are very literal and they'll put like the job title. I find something a little bit more engaging is better for people to look at your profile.
Sorry, could I just butt in? What if I had my tagline as I may be down, but I'm not out? Would that inspire you to sort of come and think, oh, that's something to do with personal development or something?
Well, maybe to put it back onto people. So rather than saying I may be down, say you might be down, but you're not out. And then they might think, oh, this person could help me, kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And then if you set up a separate business page for your brand, then you can cross post from your business page to your personal page. And then everybody who's made friends with you and met you in events will recognize your face on your personal profile, but they'll also be seeing snippets of your business as well, as you're sharing it to your page. And then use your personal page to be personal. And LinkedIn, now Nicola, when you said that about photographs before, apparently on LinkedIn, the algorithms are such that if you post a photograph, it thinks it's an advert and kind of moves down the algorithm. So apparently they
LinkedIn is the opposite, is it?
Yeah, for images. I'm
not intellectual enough.
I know, because LinkedIn is more of a it's a workplace platform, basically Facebook for work. So if it thinks you're advertising too clearly on there, then it doesn't like that. But these algorithms change all the time, so that might have changed since I last heard that. Make sure that you do get personal on your personal page. Let people know what drives you, what your passion is, what makes you tick, maybe what makes you angry a bit sometimes. Mental health is massive on LinkedIn at the moment. People are being really honest about mental health, which is brilliant, because there was a time a few years ago when people were just showing like all the successes on LinkedIn. They didn't want anyone to think that they were, you know, having a bad day or lost a sale or lost the job even. And now people are being a lot more honest, and those really honest posts get massive hits. And one of the best posts that I did on LinkedIn was about my little girl's shoe breaking on the school run. And I'd put, you know, I'm busy working mum. The school runs like the most stressful part of the day, and that we were running late as it was. And then just at the final minute, putting the shoes on, the shoes broke, and I almost crumbled, you know. But I managed to find a pair of pumps, get her off to school, and she was only 5 minutes late. And it just resonated with people because a lot of people do the school run and they know how hard it is to juggle that work-life balance, you know, with kids, and that got a better result on like in terms of likes and comments than most of my posts really. So do get a bit personal. It gets a good engagement. Also have a laugh. People like funny, and I have read a few posts recently about humor and how we need to inject humor. I think the best marketing is if you can make people laugh or you can make them cry, because it seems to be the most emotive posts do really well. That's why the John Lewis advert does so well every year, because it's like tells a story, doesn't it? It gets you quite invested in the little story, but it's usually quite emotional and sad as well, and people remember it, and they do. If you can trigger those feelings in people, then that it sticks with people.
Yeah, that's true.
And finally, you can schedule in LinkedIn itself, but if you want to schedule ahead, you can use Canva and Hootsuite as well. And I would just use the same post that you're putting on your Instagram business or your Facebook business, again, just to save time, so that you're not writing 3 or 4 different posts every time you want to post something up. And that's my whistle stop tour of those 4 platforms.
Lots, yeah. And I mean, even for those of us that use some of this stuff, there's things to learn there. I wonder, you know, I know Sam's joined us here. We did a quick round of who's, but I know Sam uses different social media sites. I'd be just curious to hear, you know, whether people are using social media, whether these tips will perhaps prompt them to try things.
Yeah, it's been useful, thank you.
Hi,
Learned
Sam.
some new bits.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
I hope I've inspired everyone to go off and write some really juicy posts and get creating on Canva as well.
Well, yeah. I think there's a few people on the call here at the early stages of some of this. So knowing all of this up front, you know, in theory, will save you a lot of time. At first, it all sounds a bit technical, and I would say you've just got to get in there and muck about with some of these things and try them out. And you can always delete these posts, and you know, but testing things out and seeing what your contacts, competitors, or other people, seeing how they are using certain platforms can give you a bit of a steer on where to start with framing things, how, you know, what people are saying, how these posts look, whether they're using images or not, what people are commenting on and not, gives you a feel for what else people are up to. And some of the hardest things, and Vicky sort of touched on it before, is working out why bother, you know. And I think sometimes just having a bit of a reasoning as to, you know, if I'm going to make the time to do this, what's it for? And then I always say about Flourish, you know, I've had hashtags and, you know, Twitter handles and stuff for like a couple of years before I even bothered to put my first tweet out. So I'm like, who'd want to listen to what we've got to say or what I've got to say? And, you know, why would we do this? And, you know, it took, you know, the fact that I needed to let people know about some of our events and our services and activities. And I wanted to showcase other women change makers and then other social enterprise news, funding and opportunities. So we're a real sharer. And so that's what helped me bother to do this. You know, it was promoting our stuff, promoting other people's stuff, and sharing general news and information in general was what started me off. And then different things and themes and campaigns emerge off of the back of it, depending on what services you're selling or offering, and what kinds of communities that you're trying to work with. That can often be a steer as well. I don't know whether we'll be wrapping up before too long, but I just wonder whether anybody's got any questions. We certainly will be sharing this video, and people hopefully will be listening again to catch up on things. But any questions from what you've heard from perhaps Arjun or Daniela? I know will be anything that's you've still got questions about, or anything that surprised you, or
Actually, Vicky, could you tell us where you access the Twitter analytics? Is that via desktop?
Yeah.
Or yeah, so you can't do it. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether you can do it on your phone. Actually, if you click on the more, the 3 dots, it brings up this menu, and then analytics. It pops out in a new window, and then you can also go. It will give you. It does it monthly. So this is my September roundup. But bear in mind, September's not over, so you've got a few more days. But then that's August, and it's really useful. This summary at the side is really useful, and I think the profile visits is kind of my barometer, because I think if people have actually clicked through to my profile, then you know, that's kind of better than them just seeing a tweet. So if you can, yeah, keep an eye on that number, and hopefully it's growing. And you do find the more you tweet, the more people visit. Look, I only tweeted twice in August, so I only got 144 people, whereas I've tweeted 4 times this month, and I've got a lot more. So it does usually directly link to how much content you're putting out. If your content's low, then your visits are going to be low, unless you're doing something amazing.
Well, we've certainly covered a whistle stop there, and I know that within the website, the How To Festival website, there are more sessions on all sorts of digital things, be that how to use Canva. Will be in there if it isn't there already, for people that, you know, we've been talking about that. There's, you know, Twitter, why bother, gives you a bit of a longer learning session on all that, and other things. I think Joanna, who we saw before, is talking about LinkedIn. So there are other sessions linked to this creating a digital topic, and then there is clearly, you know, lots of other stuff in there, as we mentioned before. Anything else you want to check or ask or add, Anna, before we start to wrap up? In future sessions, it may be that we can create little breakouts so people can network and have a chat. But I think for time today, we were just sort of getting the first one moving. We'll be running these monthly on one Tuesday a month, just for an hour and a half, just to connect people into different topics and hear where people are starting to experience the online content. But Anna, any?
Yeah, I mean, just follow up, especially if you want to do your own how-to session. We can help either record that together or help you record it, or even meet you somewhere and get our video editing lady to come and record it. So if you do want to do that, we're not quite sure how to sort of start or go about that, do be in contact. Just email me and we can set something up and help you do that. But I will follow up with the contacts and Vicky's Canva video, if that's okay, Vicky.
Yeah, absolutely. I just need your email address to add you to the Canva video access. So I just need
right. So I've got everyone's email address. I'll be able to send that through.
All right, that's fine then. Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
I've got to say goodbye to everyone. I'll see you later. Thank
Okay,
you very
thank
much.
you,
And
everyone.
oh yeah, I'm definitely coming back here anyway.
Thank you.
So, see you later. Thank you.
Good
Thanks a lot.
to meet you, Dorothy.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you. All right, take care.
And yeah,
Bye-bye.
we'll be in touch on email. We've got our physical events, and hopefully having these monthly virtual sessions is another way that people can just check in, catch up with things. And we could potentially lengthen these. We wanted to keep them short, so we could have a quick check-in webinar, give people a chance to see a few different characters. But we'd hope in future sessions we can create a little bit of networking time and a little bit of breakout stuff, if there's need for that as well. So hopefully that's been of use, and we'll start recording and share that soon.